Hi guys, we're back again. Thanks for tuning in to Three Queens Cuisine. Today for you, I actually have another copycat recipe for you to try. Comes in as a request from a friend to try the Taco Bell Border Rice Bowl copycat zesty chicken recipe. So we're going to try that one today, and I'll be making that and see how it turns out. And if you guys want to try it, uh, you know, go ahead and go for it. Give it a try and let me know if you do anything different. Maybe you substitute a different meat or whatever you tried differently. Let me know. So I already have all the ingredients in front of me. I have my chicken, 2 pieces. The recipe I have serves for 2 people. We're going to be using pepper jack cheese, refried beans. We need a taco mix, whichever one you guys prefer, you can use. The good thing about some of these recipes is everything can be substituted with whatever you like. Taco sauce, go for the medium to mild since we are doing a pepper jack cheese, which is spicier. And we're also doing a buffalo ranch, since there was some mention in there about like a spicy ranch of some sort, but I couldn't find that, so we're doing that one. So don't get anything too spicy unless you really enjoy the spice. But this is gonna be kind of layered, so too much spice might overwhelm you. We're also gonna be using lettuce. I have some romaine. You can have a small portion if you want a larger portion, whatever you'd like. This called for some strips. Now, it's supposed to be the tortilla strips, but I couldn't find those near me, so we're using the wonton strips. It's the same idea, it's the same seasoning. Substitute with whatever you like. You could use corn chips, anything to kind of give that crunch. You want to buy the regular tortilla chips and just break them up. That's something you can use too. We have a tomato to go on as well. Now for this recipe, it did say to use either a type of rice in a bag or something like a quick rice. I'm not a huge fan of those, so I'm actually going to be doing my own rice. So I'm going to show you guys how to make rice as well. So that's our list of ingredients so far, and I'm going to show you guys how to put it together. I don't really have a snapshot of an actual recipe. It's more like pictures and stages, but I'll see if I can add those. But if not, I'm just going to show you guys how to kind of heat everything up, warm it all together, and then start to layer our bowl. Before we start preparing any chicken or any of our toppings or any of our layers, what we're going to start with is our rice. So first we're going to get 3 cups of water, 3 cups, with some salt, a little bit of butter, and we're going to get that cooking. So first what we're going to do with our rice is we're going to put in 3 cups of water. I've always said you can go a little bit over if you want to. Depends on if you want your rice to be a little sticky. Sometimes you can throw in a little bit of extra rice too. So we're going to do 3 cups of water in our pan. Make sure it's a small saucepan. We're just doing a small size batch of rice. What we're going to be doing is we're going to add in some butter. That's going to be used to help flavor the rice. It's going to make a world of difference. And then our last ingredient for our rice is some salt. You can add as much or as little as you want. I'm also using unsalted butter because that way I can control how much salt goes in. So now we're going to let this come to a boil. We're going to wait till the butter melts, and then we're going to add our cup of rice. While we're waiting for our rice to come to a boil, we're going to start on our chicken. We're going to cut it up for now. This way, when things are ready to start moving, so are we. Make sure you have a good knife. We're going to cut this up. Now, depending on how you want it cut, you can cut it up into almost nugget-sized pieces, which is probably better for the cooking, and then evenly spreading out throughout the bowls. First, I washed the chicken. Just run it under some cold water under the faucet. I like to do that just to kind of wash anything off Sometimes there's some impurities on the outside that are just best when they come off. So first we're going to trim our chicken. So I like to get rid of all these parts that have blood. There's some bone in here, some parts that are fatty. So we're going to trim all of that off. Sure, when you're trimming your chicken and cutting up your chicken, have a sharp knife, because you don't want to have anything that's not going to help you trim it, because then you might end up cutting yourself. So have a sharp knife available to cut the pieces into smaller pieces to make it more manageable. We have our water is now boiling with our salt and butter. We can now add our rice. I'm going to take 1 cup of rice, and we're going to add it in. I always like to throw in a little extra. I think it helps make it a little stickier, and I just like the way it comes out. So that little bit. Now what we can do is we're going to mix it and let that finish coming to a boil again, and let that cook so the rice absorbs all the liquid. When you're cutting up your chicken, because it is raw meat, one, you want to make sure you wash your hands in between with hot soap and water before you touch anything else or do anything else. Secondly, in order for this to cook the right time, what we're going to do is go for uniformity. So if you start cutting a certain size, this size, try to make the next piece the same size. This way it'll all cook evenly and will cook quickly, and you won't run any risks of having some raw chicken mixed in with your cooked. Rice is mostly done. What we're going to do is we're going to add in a little bit of the taco mix and a little bit of the taco sauce, just to season and flavor the rice, so we get that continuous layer of same seasoning and flavoring. Notice that all the water is gone from the rice. That's when you want to drop the flame temperature. That means the rice is getting close to getting done. If you want to, you can put a lid on it, turn the heat off, and kind of let it steam and finish absorbing all the liquid. We have our chicken is all cut up. I'm heating up about 2 tablespoons of oil on the stove. I have a deeper pan because as you cook chicken, it will release some liquid. So we're going to use that throughout the cooking as well to help season it, flavor it, and make sure that whatever taco seasoning is evenly distributed around the chicken. Now we have the chicken in the pan. Be careful when adding your chicken, especially with how much oil you put in. It can splash, and since we preheated the pan, the oil will be hot. So just be careful when putting it in. I have it on about a medium medium heat right now. So we're just going to let this start to cook through. And then about halfway through, we're going to add some seasonings into our chicken. You can see there is still some pink, but there's more white. So that's showing that the meat is cooking more. So now we're actually going to add in our seasoning, which is going to be some pepper, and we're going to start adding in some of the taco mix. As you can see, the chicken has released its own liquid. So even though in the recipe it says you can add a little bit of water if it's not thin enough and the taco seasoning doesn't spread out enough, but I think between the amount of liquid that we have in here, it will shift around easily, and we'll be able to coat all the chicken and cook that in that seasoning as well. Cook this chicken until all the liquid is gone, and we're going to just sear it up so it has a little bit of brown to it, and we're going to let the seasonings continue to soak into the chicken. So while that's still going on, we're going to start working on our sides. One of the sides that we're going to be using are the refried beans. So what we're going to have to do is, because they do come cold in the can, scoop them out. Make sure you have a microwave safe bowl or container. I'm using a container because it's usually then easier for storage and cleanup, is then whatever you don't use that time around, just seal it up, put it in your fridge. You can either use it again for the same recipe or for a different recipe, but trying to use something that is definitely microwave safe is the best option. Because I've never actually microwaved refried beans before, I've usually done it on the stovetop. We're going to do this in small increments of anywhere from about a minute to 45 seconds. So don't just throw it in there for 5 minutes and let it burn. We're going to do this by small increments of heating. I put it in for a minute. It's already softened, but there are some spots where it's still a little bit thicker. So what I'm gonna do is mix it up just a little bit so each area gets microwaved decently, or as they use in the recipe, the zapper. So each part gets zapped evenly. We're gonna mix it and we're gonna put it in again, but this time for about 45 seconds. Working on our sides and our chicken is cooking. To make sure our rice doesn't get cold, we're gonna put it on a low heat and just let it sit and keep a low temperature. If you do notice it starts to sizzle too much or the bottom is sticking a bit, what you can do is turn the heat off and then just cover it and leave it covered until you're ready to use it, or then turn it back on a low heat a few minutes before you're gonna use it. Different lettuce than we used last time. Last time was more of an iceberg lettuce. This is a romaine, or the hearts of romaine. This one is done a lot differently. You need to separate each leaf from the core. The reason being that dirt can get stuck inside of this part. Even though we cut it off and we probably won't use it, it's better to wash your romaine because that tends to get more dirt inside. So just separating each leaf from the stem area. We're then going to rinse this through cold water, and then we're going to cut them up. You don't have to use these little baby leaves, but we're just using the bigger leaves for today. Romaine has been rinsed. I just have the leaves just piled up, simple, easy. What we're going to do is we're going to take a knife. I have a container on the side, so once we shred it up, we will have a place to put it. So we're just going to take our romaine as such, just pile it on top of each other, and just give everybody a bit of a rough chop. We just want to get little strips. That's going to be added in to one of the layers of our taco bowl. You don't have to use the very, very bottoms of the romaine if you don't like it. And there you go. So now we have it shredded up. Simple, easy. As you can see, most of the liquid is gone. So we're going to keep letting that cook down and simmer down. That way all the seasoning helps coat the chicken. So our next ingredient is our tomato. What we're going to do is first, we're going to wash it. Make sure you wash. Certain produce definitely needs to be washed. Actually, all produce needs to be washed. So we're going to take our tomato, use the same knife we used on the lettuce. We're going to cut it in half. What we're going to do is, I always take the top part off. I don't need that. And we're going to cut it into little sections. This is going to give us a quick and easy dice. Watch your fingers. If you're not comfortable doing this, you can always get some cherry tomatoes, just cut them in half if you want to, and then just cut across. And then you'll have it, my knife is sharper, and then you have small pieces of tomato that you can put as one of your layers. All the liquid is gone. We're just going to continue to let that brown a little bit in the pan, and to continue stirring it so all the seasonings get distributed onto the chicken. So when we start layering everything, we'll have that nice flavor. When it comes to your cheese, what you can do, if you don't want to dirty a food processor and you don't want a big chunk of cheese, what you can do is just kind of go with little bits of cheese. So that way you end up with thin pieces, and if it's soft enough, you can actually crumble the cheese in between each layer. So everything is ready, and now it's time to start building our bowl. So we're going to start with our refried beans. So they're still pretty hot from there. I put them on for another 45 seconds after the minute, and that warmed them through completely. So just take a small amount and start that as your bottom layer. So you want that in the bowl like that. Just something simple, small layer. Depending on, each person can kind of build their bowl if they want to as well. So if they prefer more refried, they can do that. If they prefer less, or they can completely skip on it if they don't really like it. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put some scoops of rice in our bowl. So we're gonna take a decent amount of rice, about this much or so, and we're gonna layer that on top of our beans. I'm using a smaller bowl, so I'm not gonna make it as big. So we just wanna do that. This is how our bowl looks. We have the refried beans and we have the rice, and now we're gonna be adding the chicken in. The recipe is made to feed 2, but I did cut everything up a little bit smaller, so we could probably get some leftovers out of it. So now we're gonna do a layer of chicken, and we're gonna spread that out just enough so there's plenty of chicken for each person in each layer. So look, now we have the chicken added on top. Everything hot, we're gonna take a little bit of cheese, and we're just gonna sprinkle that on right above the chicken. That'll help it to melt in. I did cut this up just a little bit more, but it honestly, it's so soft right now, it just crumbles into here. So you can still do that. It's just crumble it in on each layer for each person. They can kind of create their own if they want to. This is a good thing to kind of have where everybody builds their own taco bowl in a way. We added some extra ingredients. Speaking of the cheese, it is in there, the tomatoes. So we're gonna add those on top. The lettuce I also added because I just heard taco bowl and I thought of all the fixings of a taco. But this is a good thing about cooking, is you can honestly make it how you want it. You can change around some of the recipe, you can add ingredients, you can take out ingredients, you can do all sorts of things like that. So I'm adding in a few pieces of lettuce right now, and then we're gonna top it off with the rest with some taco sauce, the buffalo ranch salad dressing, and the strips. On some of the taco sauce and then some of the buffalo ranch sauce. So now the last ingredient to go on top of all of this are our crispy, either the taco strips or the wonton strips. Guys, so this is the finished product. Again, this is the Taco Bell taco bowl of some sort. I don't remember the name of it completely, but this is my take on it. You know, you guys, this is the good thing about these kind of recipes. You can mix and match, play around with what meat you put in, play around with what ingredients you put in. You could add onions and peppers. You can add whatever you want into this and kind of customize it to your own. Guys, so that's it. That's another recipe finished for us. Thank you guys for tuning in, for watching us. As always, send in a request through the comments. Let us know if you made any of these recipes, if you like them, what did you do differently, what did you add, change, anything like that. And just let us know in the comments, make suggestions through the comments also about maybe what do you want to see us prepare. And I hope you guys enjoy trying these recipes and playing around with them and just having fun with cooking. Thanks, guys.